I'm not what you see. With your problems, so we can be free. I'm not a hero, I'm not the savior. Forget what you know. I'm just a man whose circumstances went beyond his control, beyond my control. We all need control. I need control. We all need control. I am the modern man. Secret, I've got a secret. Who hides behind a mask. Secret, I've got a secret. So no one else can see. Secret, I've got a secret. My true identity. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo, domo, domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo, domo, domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Thank you very much, Mr. Roboto, for helping me escape to where I needed to. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, thank you, Mr. The problem's plain to see. Too much technology. Machines to save our lives. Machines dehumanize. The time has come at last. Secret, I've got a secret. To throw away this last. Secret, I've got a secret. Now everyone can see. Secret, I've got a secret. My true identity. I'm Kilroy. 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 Kilroy.
Who is Roy, and why do they want him killed? And welcome to the Monday morning visitation with Scream for Peace. Thanks for joining us.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us today. No guests.
No guests.
Maybe
no riot girls.
You never know. You never know who's going to drop by. We have an open door policy here at the Scream for Peace show. Anybody wants to drop in, heckle, cause trouble, have an interesting discussion, you're always welcome to join us. If you can find us, that's the hard part. In today's show, we just opened up with a little Mr. Roboto. And if this is your first time joining us, we are a topical show. And every week we pick a topic within the realms of philosophy, art, science, social stratosphere stuff, and examine that topic from a couple of different angles, one of them a musical angle. And today's angle does have to do with robotics, which is why we opened up with Mr. Roboto. And so today's show is on transhumanism, something we, if we haven't seen it firsthand, we've been inundated with it for maybe half a century in the media. And that's the merger of man and machine.
Yep, whether you love to talk, whisper sweet nothings to Siri, to falling in love with apps, living on your phone.
Digital girlfriends.
Yeah.
Digital boyfriends.
Computer love and all that.
Hey, Computer Love, that was, isn't that a song by...
Actually, it's a song by two different artists, which we'll listen to later. Zap and Roger, and of course our beloved Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk, yeah, that was great. And so today we're going to be talking. What actually spurred this, what I wanted to bring this up, was because we actually do live in opposite land, and when the federal government or the mass media puts stuff out, there's generally the hidden story is kind of just the opposite of what they're putting out. And just recently, Obama-esque made a speech. We're actually going to play the speech today, and it's him talking about the 100 billion, 400 million DARPA initiative on transhumanism, and their lead is, it's to help the veterans. We're going to help the veterans. That's what their lead is, and doing this in this. And so I only have one word that's going to describe my perspective of that. I'll just put my agenda right up front of what's really going on, and that is Borg.
Yeah.
That's what's really going on. And
we're making a collective hive mentality, people receiving signals from the thing, and a new form of humanism, transhumanism. We've transcended our own humanistic needs, usurped nature, and replaced them to some extent. And so transhumanism goes into lots of different areas, but it's getting anything you see led in the media, a lot of stuff happening in the media, there's generally something really happening in real life about that as well. So, one of the theses of the show is how art reflects life, life reflects art, that you see media, ideas evolve out of the media, in the arts, music, literature, fiction, movies, television, documentaries, stuff like that. You see underlying themes rising in the world of the arts, and they're paralleled in science as well. So, for example, here we have transhumanism has appeared in science fiction for many years, and one of the biggest shows right now on TV is apparently it's about transhumanism, about obviously a CIA agent, fighting for democracy, but he's inserted with the chip that makes him super smart. Which show is this?
I think we're going to play a little video by Mark Dice a little bit later, and he talks about it.
Oh.
So he's into that. Have you heard? What have you heard about transhumanism? Or if anybody's out there in live radio land and wants to give us a call, we'll give the new board a shot. We are up and running with some new equipment. Thanks to the Radio Valencia tech team for putting this together. We don't really use the mixer. LP mixer. We don't play records very often.
But thanks for our generous donations from our vendors fundraiser.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who went out there. I didn't go. Yeah. You didn't go either.
I was working.
So, the number here is 415-962-7979 if you want to talk about transhumanism and have you seen it. And we've all seen it. Think about one of my favorite shows as a little kid was The $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman.
Totally.
Match made in heaven. Right, and we see it all the time. There's been massive strides. Technology is so much further ahead than I think the general consensus or the general population knows. What you see on TV, they think is futuristic, and it's old tech. Yeah, a lot of times.
Updating RoboCop movie. The RoboCop remake blew me away.
I did see snippets of that. I didn't see the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see the whole thing.
Pretty awesome.
But it is about man and machine. It's the exoskeleton, and those things are real. They're very real, and sort of like Iron Man-like suits, and brainwave technologies way advanced now. They have brainwave technologies that can go into like prosthetics. You can have a fake arm or leg, and it would be responding to actual brainwaves on how it's moving. And the technology is getting just more and more refined. And I can totally see it. I want to build a mind-controlled go-kart. I could do that with Just Celeron brainwave
If
technology.
I'm not mistaken, the movie Battleship, another futuristic movie where it's an entire ship with kind of like Voltron, but to operate it, the characters like using like muscle impulses with electrodes connected to him.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
even
yeah,
when you get
yeah.
hit, though it's this giant exoskeleton machine gets hit, he's actually feeling it.
Feeling it. Wow. Yeah, I didn't see that either. But that's what happens a lot with the media when these big initiatives are going to. They have to groom the culture first to prepare it for it. So if they get something that's plausible, the reason science fiction is plausible or it's entertaining is because it's founded in reality. It's like, okay, we can imagine from where we are now to there, and it lies within the realm of extreme possibilities.
Right. Of course, movies is how they accomplish that, especially in 3D, because we love watching shit in 3D now.
3D's cool. It's getting better and better too.
Yeah.
But with the transhumanism thing, it's going to be. I think what we're seeing is, and there again, here was another movie about this, is a more division of the classes. You have the masses and you have the rulers, right? And so as you're going, and this is just sort of my projection, is they're going to put forth the idea that being transhuman somehow integrated with either a computer chip in your brain or an RFID chip or both, or everything working together, integrated 24/7 with some kind of internet brainwave reading sensing technology where you're constantly plugged into something somewhere, and that'll be the working class. That'll be, and when I say working class, I mean, if by today's standards, if you don't have $1 million in the bank, you're pretty much working class. Even if you got a couple $100,000 in the bank, you got mortgages, cars, stuff like that, you're making payments, you're broke. People like that are broke. Just broke at a higher level. If you're dependent on working, you're working class. If you can live the rest of your life doing absolutely whatever you want, and money is never an issue, you're part of the ruling class. Pretty simple. Even though you may not be out there ruling or doing something. You could be an artist, you could be doing whatever you enjoy doing, but if money just never plays a role as a hindrance within the reasonable bounds, you're never worried about paying rent, you're never worried about feeding the kids or anything, you've always got a nice place to live.
Well, we're artists and the fight continues. And that's the fun part.
Well, we're seeing with transhumanism, I think what we're seeing, they'll begin it with the military. And this is what we see with this DARPA initiative. And so they're going to put it out there how it's so good for you. It's going to help erase bad memories. And I mean, do you really want that? And then because what happens, and I can tell you for sure that memories aren't that easy to pinpoint. If they're erasing bad memories, it's a whole lot of other stuff is going with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not remembering that they've been experimenting on you the whole time.
You have no idea. And with the undercover nature of, and the massive, most Americans just cannot even comprehend how massive the hidden economy, if you want to call it a society, but it's definitely like, imagine everybody that works in the federal and state governments and law enforcement, all of those things that have top secret clearance. They have top secret clearance. We're talking about tens and tens and tens of thousands of people. Yeah, include the military, include everybody. Tens and tens and tens, hundreds of thousands of people, more likely millions. So you got a couple of million people who have access to all this top secret information. Why is it a secret? What they put out there is it's to keep us safe from our enemies. We have to keep it secret because our enemies will take our information and use it against us. That is another lie. The reality is, if the people knew what was going on, there would be a revolt. They would fucking eat the rich. That's what would happen. And so they have to keep it a secret, but they also can't tell them exactly why it's a secret, or else it's not a secret anymore. So that's the nature of propaganda, culture crafting, creating something that people want to believe in. This is how it works in the movies.
You know, the military works very closely with Hollywood. They are dovetailed hand in glove. You know, if you see on television, a television like a cop show or a military show, and they feature Department of Homeland Security, or if they feature Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, stuff like that, they have attached to that an individual who was there on the set during all the shoots and stuff as a liaison to the military, ensuring that the proper message is getting through. And they have script editing, like vetoes. They can just stop it. And one of the ways they do this, yes, yeah, absolutely. And one of the ways they do this is they offer the studios taxpayer-supported military units, people, and equipment, submarines, aircraft carriers, airplanes. And I was on a movie set. I was actually here in San Francisco while I was still active duty in the Navy. They said to our command, hey, does anybody want to be in a movie? Take 3 days off, fully paid, you know, so it was just take 3 days off from your regular duties. Go over to San Francisco, hang out on the pier in your dress whites, and listen to orders barked at you by assistant directors. And that's what we did. That's what I did for 3 days. They fed us lunch. We hung out with the cast. I got to sit next and have lunch one day with Harry Dean Stanton. That was neat. But, I mean, it was paid, taxpayer supported. They had a big submarine there.
Wow.
It was run by Navy people. That's how they got it there. And so there's a very close, tight-knit. And so you see all this transhumanist big blockbuster movies coming out. One of them is, we're going to start off actually with
Transcendence.
Transcendence, correct. And that's with Johnny Depp.
I'm a big Johnny Depp fan.
And
you got a trailer or a scene?
Yeah, it's about him talking about, he's going to introduce this. We'll pull it up here in a second. Do you have the device set up? And yeah, it's him talking about 10 minutes. But all of this stuff will always be done under the guise of helping and goodness and and they're going to throw out 2 or 3 people that it really has helped. So like, let's say there'll be some person who got in a car accident and had severe brain damage, and then they were able to implant a computer chip into his brain, allowing him to send signals to the rest of his body. Otherwise, he might be paralyzed. Now he can walk. Something like that will happen. And they'll just play that over and over again. And then all of a sudden, people will be like, oh, it's not that bad. Remember that guy we saw help? It helped that one person. It might help us. And it's just like the antidepressants that make you feel worse. You know, they'll tell you this is going to make you feel better, and the placebo effect will definitely do a lot towards that. But in reality, the overall massive thing will be more control, a dumbing down, and a lowering of standards, I guess you could say, of what consciousness is, a redefinition of what it is. Because you might be happier, actually, but you might also be living in a controlled reality that, if that was otherwise unencumbered, bliss might be at your fingertips. But instead, you're being fed a 9-to-5 life, and that you're not supposed to really start enjoying until it's almost over. You know, you're supposed to spend your entire life working for somebody else. And I'm not against work. I've actually, I would say, I've been working my entire life. I love it. I'm actually kind of reeked with grief when I'm not working. And I think most people are actually like that. They want to have something to do. But the society that we live in is so structured, it's becoming more so and more so, that it doesn't really fully give what it promises to give within the realms of happiness, fulfillment. And then you see all the wars and everything else going on. We live in a sea of lies where history is written by the rulers on a daily basis, through the news, through the media. They're fed us the reality of what we want to believe, that what they want us to believe. And because if we can accept a good belief system in how we perceive things, then it's very easy to avoid the wars, the murder, the genocide, the capitulation of democratically elected governments, all that kind of stuff is easy to put off to the side if what you're focused on is yourself and being happy and looking good. And that's most of what, remember that show we watched last night, which was, I thought it was terrifying. The Lego show,
yes,
the Lego
movie.
Terrifying. The way that opened up, oh my God. Talk about brain control, that catchy little tune, everything is awesome.
President business.
And there we even saw transhumanism there. The guy, the president, comes out and he's like puts on his Lego kit, becomes a super villain.
Yeah.
And that's a form of, what that was transhumanism. We see it everywhere, really. And we look at Star Trek, the Borg. That is, I'm not saying that we're going to be walking around mindless, like that. They'll still live a life and stuff. But just imagine if they come out and say, hey, if you're a federal government worker, we're going to give you all kinds of benefits because you're going to save us so much money if you just take this implant. Take this implant. When you're in the military, part of going in the military would be if you're in infantry, if you're in wherever you're working, boom, you got to have this. You'll take it out when you get out. But they'll create incentives. This is not the kind of thing that you would want to force onto somebody, but if you can create the environment, the culture where it's more than acceptable, people will embrace it. They will demand it. It's already all over the movies and stuff. They put the good-looking people out there. But I think, and I do have solutions, so remind me to talk about the solutions later on. So do we have this device up? Okay, we're going to try to play this. I think this is a Mark Dice video. This is the Mark Dice video on, is that me?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Nope, I don't hear it. Oh, wait. I can hear something.
All known.
That is it, but it's going to take a second to have a little...
Just science. Some of the world's biggest are actually trying to make...
You know what? Let's cut to a song. We're gonna play this a little bit later. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone instead. We got a little cable issue. So Mark Dice. I like Mark Dice. I don't agree with everything he says or his perspective. He's got a couple of books out written on the Illuminati, the New World Order, and he's got some very valid perspectives. One of the things I don't necessarily agree with him on is he's a devout Christian, and so his answer to everything is finding Jesus. And while there's a lot of wisdom in the message that came from the character Jesus, I think there's a lot of substantial proof to show that he was not a historical figure. And this is another way of culture crafting, and I wouldn't say transhumanism, but there's definitely, when you think about transhumanism, if it was 200 years ago, they would say it was the supernatural, wouldn't they? It would be like, that would be in the realm of supernatural, robotics.
Yeah.
And so why is it today? I mean, scientific advances of taking us to a point where it's not necessarily... I mean, what is beyond the bounds of reality now? What is not possible today? I mean, when you think about...
Mind reading, I guess. I don't know.
Huh?
I said mind reading, like really, really thinking. But I don't know, maybe people are getting better at that.
Yeah, I think well, actually, this what Mark Dice is going to talk about here in a second is that very thing. Is there is technology, and DARPA is a part of it, to actually have machines that will and can read your mind. And what happens right now? What? Oh, what happens? What happens when everything that used to be impossible is now a reality? I mean, okay, we'll be right back.
And it's alone in the I'm fine. I'm running more of the way. I'm too doctor, he's on the line. We'll take incubation another day. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all. We destroy the government, we're destroying time. No more problems on the way. I'm through, doctor, we don't need your kind. The other ones, ugly ones, stupid boys, wrong ones. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all in one and one are all in one and one are all. 6 is having problems, adjusting to its clone status. Have to put him on the shelf. All day long we hear him crying so loud. I just wanna be myself, I just wanna be myself, I just wanna be myself, be myself, be myself. I'm all alone, so are we all. We destroy the government, destroy time. No more problems on the way. Doctor, we don't need your time. The other ones, ugly ones, stupid boys, wrong ones. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all.
transhumanism into the mainstream with the release of his upcoming film, Transcendence, where he plays a computer scientist who uploads his brain into the internet to become an immortal, all-knowing, all-powerful God. And while most people probably think that this is just science fiction, some of the world's biggest tech companies are actually trying to make this happen. Ray Kurzweil, a chief engineer at Google, believes that by 2045, he is going to become God, an immortal, all-knowing, cybernetic God, uploading his brain, his consciousness into the internet. Time magazine has covered this. This concept has largely been an esoteric fringe, but Johnny Depp's film will introduce this concept into the mainstream now that the technology appears to be getting close to making this possibly actually happen. And the brain-dead, mentally enslaved zombie public will line up despite the disastrous consequences. The film Transcendence will most likely warn of the just absolute horrific consequences of such actions, but that hasn't stopped any tech companies from pursuing their God-like dreams. Sort of like the prescription drug companies who put out commercials that, talk about the benefits of the supposed drug or their supposed benefits for 10 seconds, and then go through the side effects for the remaining, minute and a half of the commercial. This drug may cause suicidal thoughts, thoughts of gambling compulsion, sharding your pants. But people just love the drugs. They're still just raking in the dough. Hey, yeah, doc, sounds good. Let me sign me up for that. That sounds like something I really want to take. And the dire warnings about transhumanism will most likely go unnoticed, unconcerned by the mentally enslaved morons. What's also interesting about Johnny Depp is his admiration and friendship with Hunter S. Thompson, who he just couldn't help but brag about just on all the talk shows. Played Hunter S. Thompson in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, a book by Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S. Thompson, by the way, has such disgusting and just horrific allegations surrounding him. I don't even like to talk about it. So if you want to learn what a dirtbag this guy is, just search for Hunter S. Thompson and the Franklin cover-up. When he was on the Letterman show, David Letterman, back in 1988, around the same time the allegations that were made in the Franklin cover-up were said to be happening, he, in his mumbling speech, aside from saying that he likes to kill, and that he only hunted because, not for the meat, but he liked to kill. He really freaked David Letterman out. But he also said at about 7 minutes and 13 seconds into the interview that he had been to Hillbilly when talking about George Bush. Hillbilly is the camp of the Bushes in the Bohemian Grove, the very place that the Franklin cover-up claims that Hunter S. Thompson participated in some unmentionable, horrific, nightmarish activities. Hunter S. Thompson, of course, also just known for being a drug addict, just a big brain-damaged, drug-doing dirtbag. And so, just Johnny Depp just loves him. Yeah, he just produced one of his movies, one of his books into a movie, and just played him and was friends with him, and just went to his funeral and blasted his ashes out of a cannon. That's the kind of guy you really want to be admiring. Is just an absolute drug doing, brain damaged demon who said he liked to kill people or things rather. Didn't want to talk about killing people. Just watch the interview. It's extremely disturbing. They've been to Hillbilly. Yeah, he's been to Hillbilly over there. And I wouldn't be surprised if the allegations by former Senator John DeCamp in his book, The Franklin Cover-Up, I wouldn't be surprised if they were 100% accurate. So the transhumanist agenda appears to be, just full steam ahead. Ray Kurzweil just can't wait for it to happen. If you'll ask him if he believes in God, and he says, not yet. Mark Zuckerberg and a bunch of other big tech billionaires are now investing in artificial intelligence. They're trying to build Satan a body, trying to build Lucifer a body. I mean, they're getting their directions from this just demonic entities. They're preparing the planet for the Lord Lucifer, was going to make you plug the mark of the beast into your brain. You know, Intel says that by 2020 you're just going to be surfing the internet by the brain chips. You know, oh, I'm sorry. In order to get onto the internet, our terms of service say that you have to take the brain chip. Oh, it'll be fun. It just makes it really convenient. Oh, yeah. I mean, you might have seen the show. It's a hit show on CBS called Intelligence, about a government agent who has a neural interface, a BMI, a brain-machine interface, so a computer chip implanted into his brain to make him super intelligent. And that is what they are promising. That's what the elite Illuminati plan to do, a Matrix-style, Star Trek-style Borg, where you literally wire the internet into your brain. Oh, I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Oh, I'm sure that you can just trust the tech companies. I mean, we've been able to trust these big tech companies with our personal and private information. I mean, it's not like they've ever turned that over to the government, to the NSA, and then just lied about it. It's not like Microsoft and Bill Gates, the richest man in the world. It's not like he just handed the keys to the kingdom over to the NSA and just worked hand in hand with the NSA to build backdoors into all of his products. So I'm sure that you can just trust these big tech companies to just treat your mind, body, and soul with utmost respect and safety when you just wire the internet right into your brain. And it might get to the point where you don't even need to wire it in. You might just put a couple little plugs on your head. Just put a little hat on there, and it'll read your brain waves, and it'll pump it'll pump radio waves back into your brain. So you might not even need to go in for evasive surgery. Oh, just put on this hat. Oh, just put on your little Google Glass version 2.0. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, and then the Illuminati counterfeit Christ, the Antichrist, is going to tell the world that he has created heaven on earth. He's unlocked heaven for everybody. It's here. All you got to do is just go to the little Google hospital and just take this little chip. It's your next phase of evolution into becoming a god. That's what they're telling people. That's what these absolute psychos are planning on doing. I mean, you can't make this up. So the discussion around transcendence may very well bring the idea of transhumanism into the mainstream discussion, and most of the brain dead mainstream media watching distracted just demonic dirtbag public will now believe and understand this. Oh, it's not science fiction. Oh, you mean I can become a god? Oh, I'm so afraid to die. And then if you don't want to take the chip, you're going to be seen as a suicidal terrorist. Oh, wait a minute, but the Illuminati Messiah, but the Lord Lucifer has finally come here, and you're denying him. Oh, you're denying your entry into heaven. You're so stupid. We're just going to kill you. That's what they're going to try to do. That's just the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. You should probably go and read the New Testament. Probably time to, pick up your Bible, crack it open, and figure out exactly what it is that's going on and what's going to happen. Right? So, here in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9, it says, God has brought you out of the darkness into the marvelous light. And so now you must tell all the wonderful things he has done. So don't be afraid to tell the truth. Don't be afraid to just denounce these absolute evil electronic demons. Look at Johnny Depp here standing before a big all-seeing Illuminati eye like that, just pimping out, this dirtbag Hunter S. Thompson, this Bohemian Grove attending, hillbilly loving, drug damaged demon. So anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new. Check out some of the previous videos and the playlists. Check out my book, Big Brother, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True, where I talk in detail about neural interfaces and the just disastrous consequences of this technology. And stay tuned because there's more videos coming soon.
And Speak for Peace says not to be afraid of the truth.
There we go. So here's a little transhumanism there. But that was Mark Dice.
Don't be afraid of the truth.
Yeah.
Pick up that Bible.
And that's a whole different show. Check out our December shows for examination of
So
Jesus
what's this
Christ.
cube saying?
This what you're hearing here in the back is
which is, I think, a form of transhumanism, and that electronic games are a form of that, and this is an electronics Rubik's cube, and so it's not a cube in the sense that the puzzle is exactly the same as the old one that came out in the late 70s, early 80s. And so you still have, but it's just buttons you push. There's one button there's 6 buttons, one button on each color. But you turn it on. And she's given us instructions. How often do we get an electronic device that we turn on and it gives us instructions what to do next?
Right.
And then we interface with it.
Except our talking GPS.
Yeah, all the time. I had a car. I loved it. It was a Matrix. I named her Trinity, and it was a female GPS voice. And so she would give me directions, tell me where to go.
It's kind of cool if you could actually change this voice, like recording one of a sexy woman, and just to be able to hear her voice giving you driving directions.
Yeah, totally possible. It's totally possible. You download different types, but I mean, when you break down the nature of reality in atoms and what actually is mass, I mean, something like 99% of the mass of an atom is empty space. So we're mostly empty space at the subatomic and atomic levels, and so. Where do you draw where is the line between transhumanism and just basic interaction? I'm not against some forms of mind matter interaction, computing technology, stuff like that, but there's a difference between that and invasive surgery because really, when you break it down, when you get right to its core of what's going on in the world today, it is mass eugenics, and it's the ruling classes. They look at us like cattle, similar to the way we look at cattle, and are not above experimentation. So imagine it's 1983. The Vietnam War is over. Vietnam veterans across the country are protesting and about Agent Orange. That's still going on today. You've got a big controversy there. Them saying, "Oh, it's not bad for you." There's no harm that's going to come from that. All those chemicals probably just go away. And you have all of this going on, and then you have guys showing up that have been completely disenfranchised from society, incapable, unable to maintain employment, maintain family relationships. They're maybe drug and alcohol problems, and so they get looped into this system, and then all of a sudden you hear them say, and I bet I've got a brain plant. I bet I've got a brain chip. The government has secretly implanted a chip in my brain, and they're fucking with me. What would you have thought of even 10 years ago if you had heard somebody say that?
That they were crazy.
They were just crazy. They were imagining it, right? But in the second part of the show, we're going to examine Obama's speech on this DARPA initiative and whether. So I can guarantee you this: before they come public on something like this, they would not have done this unless they had decades and decades of research and experimentation under their belts already. That if they were willing to take a program this controversial into the public eye, they've already been doing it. This is one of those top secret programs that's been going on for decades and decades. And that is, and again, using veterans as the experimentation. I do not have a chip. I've had complete body scans done, not looking for those, but looking for other health anomalies. And so I've seen my complete MRI. There's no brain chips. But I would not put it past, particularly people. I could easily imagine a battlefield experiment going on where anybody getting any type of severe brain damage, and maybe they would be considered to be dead anyway. And they bring them in, and that's a plausible body to experiment on. Somebody that's going to be dead anyway. The only thing that's going to happen is they could save their life. You know, you create a war big enough, you have an endless supply of bodies to work on. Not to yeah, you've got an endless supply of bodies to work on. So that's there. And one of the ways, again, that they make this acceptable, they make it acceptable within the mainstream. And you have to remember, do the math, 99% versus 1%. If the 99% what catches on, what's going on, the game is over. And so they have to, it's a continuous barrage of information, disinformation, paradigm making, and in some ways, paradigm paralysis, inducing paradigm paralysis, making anything other than what they already believe to be true so unbelievable that nobody would even contemplate it to be true. And, you know, John F. Kennedy said that very thing. He said, what's going on in the civil is so well organized that most people would not believe in its existence. And but one of the ways they did this was, I think it was Spider-Man 2. I almost weed myself when I saw it. I mean, it was like that. Oh, you got to give me a break. It was just such an obvious slap in the face too. And people wonder why veterans become disgruntled, right? And that particularly here in San Francisco, it's not like this all over the world, but if somebody hears you're a veteran in San Francisco, it's not a good thing at all. And so most veterans are ashamed of their service and hide it. And it only comes up in general conversation, and that's kind of a travesty in itself. But you look at the underlying reason and why. So in Spider-Man, there was a scene where the mad scientist has this formula that's going to transform him into a giant lizard machine or something, and it is ready for human experimentation. So what does he decide to do? He's going to hop in the car and drive down to the Veterans Hospital and pick up some subjects. It was that easy. That was his solution. That's what he was going to do. He made it seem like, now you got to remember who's watching this. Who's watching this movie? Obviously a lot of adults, but a lot of kids, you know. They don't see those subtleties, right? But if you watch that, they get stuck on this bridge. Spider-Man stops him, but he is literally on the way to the VA to pick up some veterans to inject this deadly virus into, to simply experiment on it. And he's like, and they're unabashedly not ashamed. They were unabashedly just right out in front about this. And so it's pretty much accepted. And so you look back at a lot of the released documents that have been declassified, like COINTELPRO, MK Ultra, mind control stuff. A lot of them had targeted people who had served in the military. And so basically, and I find this unbelievable to some extent, but when you look at it from if you want to like stratify the data, when you get out, you kind of have two choices. You can be part of the military industrial complex or not. And the odds are against you if you're not, you know, rather than if you are. Within the context of society in general, and the way the programs are organized at the VA, you know, so it's really more of a death trap for anybody that's in crisis or anybody that I mean, like just in the last several years, you would think the death rate for suicide among veterans would go down, right? But what has it gone? It's gone up. Why? Because there's not enough attention to it. You see this shit everywhere. They got 800 lines. There's like there's nobody out there that can't get help if they want it. But when they go for help, what do? They get sucked into a death machine. They give you drugs that make you feel terrible. They isolate you from society. They take away your ability to make a living. And so it has a reverse effect. That's what I'm talking about, the opposite land. And with transhumanism, they're going to be doing the exact same thing. And they're going to lead. It's just like Vegas. Everybody knows the odds are against you, right? But everybody goes to play. They just like playing. Even if you don't consider yourself like a ace at the games, and you know the rules up and down and understand the strategy, and you have a betting strategy, and you come bankrolled. And, you know, I always considered it a win if I could just pay for the weekend. If I walked away with zero, that would be awesome. Pay for the hotel room, pay for the shows, whatever. But with with gambling, what do they do? If you're a winner, they're going to really maximize your winnings, and they're going to make it seem like so much more than it is. They comp you a hotel room, right? But what they're really doing is they're making you one of their advertising, because you're going to go home and you're tell everybody how much you won, and then they put you up and you had such a great time. Meanwhile, for every one of those people, there are thousands of losers. Thousands and thousands of losers who didn't get anything, right? But what do? They highlight those, marginalize the losers. So within this transhumanism, it's going to be the same thing. There's going to be a handful of celebrities and people that are out there doing it. But as far as the masses are concerned, I mean, imagine this. When you watch television, your body, because of the flicker rate, your brain goes into what's called an alpha state, and it's almost like a form of hypnosis, and you're more susceptible to stimuli, light, messages, things like that, and so you just sort of calm down and ease down, right? So they can do this with the television. How difficult do you think it's going to be for them to put a chip in your brain that emanates a stabilizing tone, alpha tone, that just induces a sense of calm, of contentment, maybe not happiness, but what it does, it limits. You can think of it as a limiting valve, to where it also limits the amount of, if you want to say, the upper level of joy, happiness, love, things like that. And so these things, and if I can think about it, if I can imagine how that's possible, I'm sure that they have as well. A long time ago, before I was even born. And so, I mean, you can do that now with light and sound. You know, we played that on the show sometimes with the background music, just the binaural beats.
Yeah.
You do that now. You imagine you have a signal implanted going right to your brain. You know, and the technology is way, way ahead of what we generally believe is possible. You know, brainwave technology, sound wave technology, lasers, things like that. We have laser weapons that are very advanced. So when they go into these robotics, is that even possible? You know, what's possible is in these top secret programs deep underground. And under these caverns, and the nature of the reality of what's going on is so far removed from everybody's day-to-day experience. It does seem like science fiction, you know. But one of the things, I'm going to leave you with this. We're going to cut to a couple songs. One of the things that I like to point out is, you know, during World War II, you had the Manhattan Project, which included tens of thousands of people. Not only were there, I think there was like 9,000 people in the town, maybe even more. It was one of the biggest consumers of electricity in the country, but also just the people in the military and within the upper divisions of government. You know, there's tens and tens of thousands of people knew about this giant top secret. And it was a massive multi-billion-dollar operation. So, and they were able to pretty much keep that secret until they wanted everybody to know, until they released it. And if they can do that, you have to ask what's going on now. So this DARPA is a great example of, you know, how it's like the public relations arm. But if you go to their website, and you can find it, we'll have links on our blog. But if you go to DARPA's website and read about it, it reads like a science fiction movie. The things that they're talking about, possibilities, just a few years ago would have been considered ridiculous to conceive of as a possibility. Well, during our lifetime. You know, everybody say, well, that's possible someday, but it was like, well, no, this is actually, we're going to be doing this now. We started a long time ago. We just forgot to tell you about it. More songs about robots.
Robots are coming. They're flying through space to wipe out our race. Robots are angry. They're tired of being stereotyped, and they're planning there and then. Robots have landed. They're 80 feet tall and charging their death rays. The robots are marching. They're crushing our cars, disrupting our Wi-Fi. And there's nothing we can do. They've turned our armies and our Jews. It looks like this might be the end for us. There's nothing left to say. Don't try to run away. They have disabled Google Maps. The robots are talking. They're beeping out loud and drawing attention. The robots are self-conscious. It seems they left to attack without packing pants. The robots are rusty. They've let themselves go. It's a little disgusting. The robots are nervous. They're feeling alone. And I come from the draft. There's nothing we can do. They've put our armies and our Jews. It looks like this might be the end for us. There's nothing left to say. Don't try to run away. They have disabled Google Maps. So dance, dance. There's nothing left to do. There's nothing left to do. So dance, dance. There's nothing left to do. The robots are swaying. It seems that our dancing is shorting their circuits. The robots are shaking. Their dials are spinning and smoke is shooting out their ears. The robots are crying. They can't beat our dancing and are leaving in defeat. So dance, dance. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Dance, dance. Oh, dance, dance.
And that was Computer World by Kraftwerk.
That was a great concert. That was in 3D, the last show.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, that was good. And so thanks for joining us. This is the second hour of S.C.R.E.A.M show.
And we've got some puppetry.
Puppetry?
Yes.
What's up?
We're gonna listen to some puppetry.
Oh, we're gonna listen to some puppetry. That's right. Yeah, here in a few minutes, we're going to be playing Obama's speech on the introduction of the DARPA initiative to basically Borg the American public. And they're going to start, as always, with the guinea pigs in the military, with unapproved testing and experimentation going on for decades behind the scenes, manufactured war scenarios, steady stream of bodies, secret labs, Nazi doctors, hot girls, fast cars, lots of drugs. That's life in the fast lane.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of what's going on. But most people are actually listening through some form of mechanical device, electromechanical device. And where do you draw the line between transhumanism and just regular interaction with electronics? And does it have to include brainwaves? Because you're using brainwaves just to push buttons and stuff, using your computers. There's an intuitive nature to it. We already have it. I mean, how many people have pacemakers? How many people have metal plates in their brains from accidents and things like that? So, amputees that have electronic replacement limbs, electronic eyes are in the works, and there's all kinds. So like we're pretty far advanced as far as just within the general public's acceptability of transhumanism.
That's yours.
Okay. And so what we're going to hear is propaganda at its best. And one of the funny things about this, they're making this sound like maybe Obama gets elected, and then all of a sudden, you know what, we're going to go out and help the veterans retain their memories. And by doing that, now this is the same government that's killing them at 22 per day, and that's just that they keep track of. And those are the people you're going to trust? No, because they're going to create you have to create an underclass, a desperate underclass that's willing to do anything. They're going to get volunteers to say, hey, I want to volunteer for the Brain Initiative. I have PTSD. I want to be, and then they'll just, pay them. They'll actually just pay them. They'll give them a disability rating, pay them a couple $1,000s a month, come in, take the plant. They will love it. They will love it. Make their life easier. See, because they infuse it with a little money, makes their life easier. And things get better miraculously. So that's what we're actually seeing fold out right now, right here. That's actually what he's talking about, is the implanting of these chips into people and then releasing them into the public. And but one of the ways they've been doing this, again, this is just 21st century, 20th century, really. It began a long time ago. Eugenics. It's a form of eugenics, and one of the ways that they continuously attack everybody in the general public and get us ready for this. It's sort of the same thing that they do with the animals. They inject them with drugs. And so we see this in vaccines, and we see it in our water supply. Antidepressants. One of the biggest ingredients in Zoloft and our public water supply is fluoride. Hydrofluoric acid, I believe it's called. And
that's why we got to go to
it numbs you down. It dumbs you down.
And we got to go to get our free produce every Sunday. Keep that dumbing down.
Yeah. But I mean, you drink the water, you drink coffee at work, you go to Starbucks, you're getting this stuff everywhere. Even the gardens, if you got an organic garden, you're watering it with the public water supply, you're getting fluoride into your food. It's everywhere. And so it's into your brain. It's a proven neurotoxin, and they're just getting us ready for this next step in evolution, which will be trackable, implantable, tagged people, and then you'll have different classes of people, and then the super wealthy won't have it because they're the ones controlling everything, and then you'll have the renegades who don't want it, and so the super wealthy will make the renegades, they'll demonize them, and people who don't want to be implanted, people who don't want the RFID chip, and this is already going on. This is not something in the future. It's happening already. Even within Obamacare, there are provisions in there to have people implanted with chips under certain circumstances. But they're not going to go out there and make people do this because there would be massive backlash. They will just simply create the environment to make it more than acceptable. So this is him doing that, and it's a long one. I don't know how long we're going to listen to it until either I vomit or. But I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop it at points, and we'll discuss elements of it.
You're going to have a retranslation of it.
Yeah, a translation maybe. We'll see. And so he's getting introduced, I think, by the head of DARPA. I'm not sure who this guy is, and then
Is DARPA an acronym?
Defense Agency. I think I have it up here. Hold on. Yeah, I'll look. We'll have that when we come back. Okay, so here we go.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. I'm Francis Collins, Director of the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and I am proud to have the honor of welcoming you here to the East Room of the White House for a very special scientific announcement by the President. Investing in biomedical research is one of the wisest choices we can make as a nation. The United States has long been at the forefront of one medical breakthrough after another, helping to save lives, improve people's health, and grow the economy. Moving forward, we as a country are extraordinarily fortunate to have a leader who places such a high value on science to unlock the mysteries of disease and discover new ways of overcoming them. But now we stand at the edge of another frontier in biomedicine and biological research, which the President will describe in a moment. Some may ask how we can afford to talk about investing in bold new research during difficult budgetary times. But the reality is we can't afford not to. The worst thing we can do in challenging economic times is to stifle innovative thinking. And asking people in this room to delay innovation would be like asking the cherry trees in Washington to delay blooming. It's exactly that innovation that holds immense potential, not just for the families whose lives it will change, but for also spurring new jobs and business
Humor
opportunities.
relaxes the mind.
The President understands this implicitly. He knows the importance of connecting scientific advances with solid science policy, and he knows the power of partnership. And that's why he has brought us all together here today. Science agencies within the government, as well as philanthropic foundations and leaders in the private sector, to marshal our talents and take on this next big challenge. So without further ado, it is a great personal privilege and a high honor to introduce our scientist-in-chief, the President of the United States, Barack Obama.
So he's now the commander-in-chief and the scientist-in-chief. But as I said earlier, that this did not happen overnight, nor did it begin with the Obama administration. This date, maybe not this particular speech date, but the general window of notifying the general public that this program that has been top secret for probably 40 or 50 years is now ready to go public, right? So this date was set probably before Obama was even born, you know, for this. Because when you're at this realm, at the heads of the states, you don't think in terms of 10, 20 years, 30 years. Most people, the individual, how far in ahead do you really have to plan your life, huh? How far do the common person, the average person, the above average person, how far do you have to plan your life?
Maybe just a year.
A year? Yeah. No, I mean, professionals, you know, you're looking, if you have a business, vacation, but if you have a business, you're looking 3-5 years.
Right.
You got, if let's say you graduate from college, you're 23, 24 years old.
You're entering the public life. You're thinking retiring in 40 years.
Like our engineers developing our central subway system, I think they devoted 10 years.
10.
Yeah.
Right. And so most people with work projects, maybe 10 years, 5 years, if you own your business, you're doing it for life. And how far do you actually plan everything out? You're not planning, but when you're in the upper spheres of this type of initiative, you're planning 100 years out, 300 years out. You're working on plans that were conceived by generations of leaders ago. That's what the society is. And so this initiative is nothing new. It's been talked about for a long time. You get snippets. And there's another thing you can look at too within the context of this technology, and that is, I don't have the video up. We're not going to listen to it, but Michio Kaku, I think that's his name, physicist, he's talking about transhumanism. He thinks it's a fabulous idea. He advocates taking memory pills to erase bad memories. And like, dude, that's what LSD is. But no, I mean that it's already out there. And
right. There's a movie to correspond to all of this stuff. The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, right. Exactly. There we go. And so these things have been going on for a long time, and how they're portrayed in the media is one thing. But let's go back to listen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Please have a seat.
But remember, he's George Bush's cousin.
Well, first of all, let me thank Dr. Collins, not just for the introduction, but for his incredible leadership at NIH. Those of you who know Francis also know that he's quite a gifted singer and musician, so I was asking whether he was going to be willing to sing the introduction, and he declined.
Again, humor.
But his leadership has been extraordinary, and I'm glad I've been promoted to scientist-in-chief. Given my grades in physics, I'm not sure it's deserving, but I hold science in proper esteem, so maybe that gives me a little credit. Today I've invited some of the smartest people in the country, some of the most imaginative and effective researchers in the country, some very smart people, to talk about the challenge that I issued in my State of the Union address: to grow our economy, to create new jobs, to reignite a rising, thriving middle class by investing in one of our core strengths, and that's American innovation. Ideas are what power our economy. It's what sets us apart. It's what America's been all about. We've been a nation of dreamers and risk takers. People who see what nobody else sees sooner than anybody else sees it. We do innovation better than anybody else, and that makes our economy stronger. When we invest in the best ideas before anybody else does, our businesses and our workers can make the best products and deliver the best services before anybody else. And because of that incredible dynamism, we don't just attract the best scientists or the best entrepreneurs. We also continually invest in their success. We support labs and universities to help them learn and explore, and we fund grants to help them turn a dream into a reality. And we have a patent system to protect their inventions. And we offer loans to help them turn those inventions into successful businesses. And the investments don't...
Okay, translation. We have a patent system to help protect them. No, we have a patent system that notifies us of all the cool stuff that comes down the pike. Then we have a loan system that makes them dependent on us for the financing of their dream. And this allows us to co-opt the entire industry of innovation with what we control, and that is money. So while
patents have the ability to protect people. They also have the ability to do what? Keep technology, keep people from using really valuable technology, really valuable stuff. And so these people, these DARPA people, have been sitting on this technology for 50 years. If they had released it out into the public and properly just let it go, you know, who knows where it'd be now? Far more advanced than it is, but they keep it. That's what the nature of secrecy is.
Always pay off, but when they do, they change our lives in ways that we could never have imagined. Computer chips, GPS technology, the internet. All these things grew out of government investments in basic research, and sometimes, in fact, some of the best products and services spin off completely from unintended research that nobody expected to have certain applications. Businesses then use that technology to create countless new jobs. So the founders of Google got their early support from the National Science Foundation. The Apollo project that put a man on the moon also gave us eventually CAT scans. And every dollar we spend to map the human genome has returned $140 to our economy. $1 of investment, $140 in return.
That's $1 in investment, $140 into the pockets of the elite. That's translated.
Right?
Shareholders, right? Preferred shareholders generally, and tax breaks, all that stuff. So that doesn't mean that that went, you know, to benefit humanity in any way.
So Dr. Collins helped lead that genome effort, and that's why we thought it was appropriate to have him here to announce the next great American project, and that's what we're calling the Brain Initiative.
Eugenics.
Now, as humans, we can identify galaxies light years away. We can study particles smaller than an atom, but we still haven't unlocked the mystery of the 3 pounds of matter that sits between our ears. So today, scientists possess the capability to study individual neurons and figure out the main functions of certain areas of the brain. But a human brain contains almost 100 billion neurons, making trillions of connections. So Dr. Collins says it's like listening to the string section and trying to figure out what the whole orchestra sounds like. So as a result, we're still unable to cure diseases like Alzheimer's or autism, or fully reverse the effects of a stroke.
But they can still cause it.
And the most powerful computer in the world isn't nearly as intuitive as the one we're born with. So there's this enormous mystery waiting to be unlocked. And the Brain Initiative will change that by giving scientists the tools they need to get a dynamic picture of the brain in action and better understand how we think and how we learn and how we remember. And that knowledge will be transformative. In the budget I will send to Congress next week, I will propose a significant investment by the National Institutes of Health, DARPA, and the National Science Foundation to help get this project off the ground. I'm directing my Bioethics Commission.
Makes it sound like it's just getting started. Do you get that? We're going to get this thing going.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next step is, you know, we're going to start digging into people's minds because we've never thought about it before. Just come out.
Sure, all of the research is being done in a responsible way, and we're also partnering with the private sector, including leading companies and founders.
Now they can make sure the research is being done in a responsible way, because you pretty much guarantee that up to now it has not been. Responsible for who, you know?
Nations and research institutions to tap the nation's brightest minds to help us reach our goal. And of course, none of this will be easy. If it was, we'd already know everything there was about how the brain works, and presumably my life would be simpler here. It could explain all kinds of things that go on in Washington, and we could prescribe something. So it won't be easy, but think about what we could do once we do crack this code. Imagine if no family had to feel helpless watching a loved one disappear behind the mask of Parkinson's, or struggle in the grip of epilepsy. Imagine if we could reverse traumatic brain injury or PTSD for our veterans who are coming home. Imagine.
There you go. See that was the money shot right there. All the humor, everything laid up. That was getting you ready for the sympathy play. It's like all the sick people, all the the elderly. You're losing your parents. They're no longer. They're just a shell of who they once were. But with this implant, but you got to get it early. You got to get it early.
If someone with a prosthetic limb can now play the piano or throw a baseball as well as anybody else because the wiring from the brain to that prosthetic is direct and triggered by what's already happening in the patient's mind. What if computers could respond to our thoughts, or our language barriers could come tumbling
They already
down?
can.
Or if millions of Americans were suddenly finding new jobs in these fields, jobs we haven't even dreamt up yet because we chose to invest in this project.
Jobs in the fields, all right.
That's the future we're imagining. That's what we're hoping for. That's why the BRAIN Initiative is so absolutely important, and that's why it's so important that we think about basic research generally as a driver of growth, and that we replace the across-the-board budget cuts that are threatening to set us back before we even get started. A few weeks ago, the directors of some of our national laboratories said that the sequester, these arbitrary across-the-board cuts that have gone into place, are so severe, so poorly designed, that they'll hold back a generation of young scientists. When our leading thinkers wonder if it still makes sense to encourage young people to get involved in the science in the first place because they're not sure whether the research funding and the grants will be there to cultivate an entire new generation of scientists, that's something we should worry about. We can't afford to miss these opportunities while the rest of the world races ahead. We have to seize them. I don't want the next job-creating discoveries to happen in China or India or Germany. I want them to happen right here in the United States of America. And that's part of what this BRAIN Initiative is about.
Because when you have a job, no matter what, to some extent you're working for them. And that's what they have to maintain.
That's why we're pursuing other grand challenges, like making solar energy as cheap as coal, or making electric vehicles as affordable as the ones that run on gas. They're ambitious goals, but they're achievable. And we're encouraging companies and research universities and other organizations to get involved and help us make progress. Now, we have a chance to improve the lives of not just millions, but billions of people on this planet through the research that's done in this BRAIN Initiative alone. But it's going to require a serious effort, a sustained effort. And it's going to require us as a country to embody and embrace that spirit of discovery that is what made America America.
Spirit of discovery. Now, this is what they call it now. The spirit of discovery. But what's going to happen is it'll be almost like the boob implants. Great innovation, fantastic, cheap, it's cost effective, do this, and then all of a sudden all the repercussions come down the road, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to have this initial surge of people taking this on, veterans, general public. They're gonna start with the veterans, of course, and then the general public, and people will be begging for thousands and thousands of people to get these implants, and they won't know exactly what they're doing. They'll just take it for granted that it's going to be how bad could it really be? They could always have it removed, but it's going to be the equivalent of a lobotomy for a lot of people. Some people will respond well, but it's going to have huge implications for the daily life of people. Handful of people, like I said, will respond, but those are the ones that will get highlighted, keep it going. And but the spirit of discovery they're talking about is people freaking out. They'll like lose their their way while driving a car and crash. They'll walk into traffic. They'll no longer be a human. They'll be transhumans. They'll be transferred into something else. And what that something else will be something between autism and I don't know what would be the other extreme spectrum. Probably Superman, because some people will probably do really well with them. And so that's part of the breeding process. You got to weed out the weak and highlight the people who adapt, and then those are the ones that lead the way. So got 2 more minutes of this.
Now, the year before I was born, an American company came out with one of the earliest mini computers. It was a revolutionary machine, didn't require its own air conditioning system. That was a big deal. It took only one person to operate. But each computer was 8 feet tall, weighed 1,200 pounds, and cost more than $100,000. And today, most of the people in this room, including the person whose cell phone just rang, have a far more powerful computer in their pocket. Computers have become so small, so universal, so ubiquitous. Most of us can't imagine life without them. Certainly, my kids can't. And as a consequence, millions of Americans work in fields that didn't exist before their parents were born. Watson, the computer that won Jeopardy, is now being used in hospitals across the country to diagnose diseases like cancer. That's how much progress has been made in my lifetime and in many of yours. That's how fast we can move when we make the investments. But we can't predict what that next big thing will be. We don't know what life will be like 20 years from now, or 50 years, or 100 years down the road. What we do know is if we keep investing in the most promising solutions to our toughest problems, then things will get better. I don't want our children or grandchildren to look back on this day and wish we had done more to keep America at the cutting edge. I want them to look back and be proud that we took some risks, that we seized this opportunity. That's what the American story is about. That's who we are. That's why this BRAIN initiative is so important. And if we keep taking bold steps like the one we're talking about to learn about the brain, then I'm confident America will continue to lead the world in the next frontiers of human understanding. And all of you are going to help us get there. So I'm very excited about this project. Francis, let's get to work. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Aww.
How's your stomach holding up?
Oh, man. Okay, but here's the thing, though. That whole speech was like a pharmaceutical advertising. They just dance around. Does anybody know what they're actually going to do?
No, he really didn't say.
He didn't say what they're going to do. They're just going to do a brain thing, and it's going to help people with Alzheimer's. It's going to help veterans. It's going to help people with, missing limbs. It's going to improve lives, and but they didn't say what it is. What are they actually going to do? And and it's not just one thing. It's a total immersion. I mean, I could see I could probably build one myself with the right team, and that is like an Iron Man like suit. Just when I say Iron Man, I just mean like a full body suit where there's a hat component that is tied into your brain waves, and it helps regulate the lighting and other elements of the suit. So that's possible to do today. That's not hard. And so the DARPA thing, though, it's going to be a combination, I think, of the RFID chips combined with actual brain implants of some sort that, the technology I don't think is there to stimulate
what would you call it? Well, there is voice-to-skull technology. You've heard of that. We've talked about that before in the show. So, like, there are machines that will transmit vibrational frequencies at the brainwave level and basically be able to put voices. You'll be able to hear voices. You'll be able to hear a voice in your mind, a modulated voice that can say whatever it's programmed to say, and you'll hear it. But it doesn't sound like it's coming from your ears. It sounds like it's coming from your forehead. I've never experienced it, but it is so it is so available right now. Apparently, there's a vending machine in Japan that uses this technology to shoot out the signal through random passersby, like "drink me" or whatever the name of the thing is. So that's pretty interesting, and so this will roll out a couple of different ways. But this is the whole thing. It's like just like in a pharmaceutical, you look at a commercial. You know, I think Mark Dice talked about this earlier too. They don't really say what it does, but they tell you, like, they'll spend a minute talking about the side effects because they're required to do that because it's such a dangerous thing to have. And so here they just danced around what they're doing, but they're basically, it's another, multi-billion-dollar research project. And what they're doing, though, they don't have to tell the public if they didn't want to. What would that do? Nothing. They're taking it to the forefront into universities. They throw a bunch of money at it, and then all of a sudden it becomes pervasive as part of the culture. And so it's an acclamation. It's an acclamation of surveillance tied in with this. Because if you're tied in to if you're part of the transhumanist movement and you're tagged, then you're part of the collective. You're part of the hive. In one way or another, you're going to be to that before all else, and that's why they want it. So we're going to cut to a couple songs, and we will be right back after this music about robots.
Світлої роботники.
And that was The Robots by Kraftwerk.
And we're all robot slaves when you come down to it. Some of us just exercise a little creativity along the way. But thanks for joining us. It's the Scream for Peace show. Visit us on our website, screamforpeace.net. And the name of the show is actually, it's an acronym, and there's more on that on our website. But the
Do it in a robot voice.
do I have a robot voice?
Yeah, do it in a robot voice.
I don't know if I have a robot voice. Can I do a robot voice?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd probably
Spontaneous creativity rapidly enhances ethospheric modulation for people evolve as consciousness expands.
Well done.
Yeah, okay. That's what the show said. That's what the acronym stands for. What do you stand for? That's the question. So check out Acronym TV with Dennis Trainer. You can find him on YouTube, and I think it's acronym.tv or acronymtv.tv, but you can find him. He's got some cool stuff. I'd like to have him as a guest on the show sometime. I ran into him one day at the Occupy. I was down there taking some video, ran into him, had a nice conversation. But transhumanism, this has been the Transhumanism show. And we've been talking about how society is being prepared to accept computer chips, RFID chips, various forms of personal tagging, tracking, and monitoring. And again, just look, got to read in between the lines. If you're in the DARPA, go to the DARPA website, Defense Agency or was it Defense Initiative Research Project?
Defense Advanced
Research Project, that's it. And but they've got some very interesting things on their website. But you have to read through the lines, in between the lines, and find out exactly what they're doing. And don't just listen to the status quo of or the mainstream perspective of that, because there's always the top secret component. And because when these implants start coming out in the mainstream, I can almost guarantee there's going to be a component of them that will talk about emitting frequency, the RFID component, what I said. All it has to do is send out a tonal signal. It won't even be perceptible. It won't even know it's there, but the brain will know it's there. And it'll keep you in a constant alpha state, very susceptible to influence, persuasion, and messages in general. So that's our messages today, is just be aware of what transhumanism is. We didn't really talk about Ray Kurzweil, but they're talking about freezing through cryogenics bodies, and with the hopes that one day they can implant the consciousness into a computer, which really, by the time you're dead, it's done. But that's a big part of Kurzweil's work. He's a brilliant dude, actually. But I just don't think that's what they're really talking about is taking a copy of your brain, implants, memories, through being able to record it through various forms of MRI and brainwave technology, sort of taking a tape recording of your brain and then uploading it into a machine. That's what the Johnny Depp show is. That movie was about. And then being able to preserve your consciousness forever. And again, that's going to be the promise of it, but the practical application is radically different than that. And what they're finding is that I think a lot of these bodies that have been frozen, they've been unable to maintain it. And they find the internal organs. There's no way that the bodies can actually come back, because it's just
that's how they
destroy it.
That's how
the
they
thawing out
try
process.
to kill the AIDS virus.
What's that?
During the early experimentation was to freeze the body. Virus died, but
so did the
case died as well.
Yeah. I don't think it's actually. I think. It would be a replica, but not in this. It would be a lesser of a replica. It'd be just like a remnants, like an echo.
of the person, because there would still be the artificial component to it. But that's the goal. That's part of the goal of transhumanism, and be able to impart. There was another movie with Bruce Willis out, the Surrogates, where you could control robots, through plugging into machines, basically, and controlling a surrogate self, robotic self that's better, younger, more able. So that's kind of part of it as well. That takes the object to a nth degree, but to some extent you can do that right now online. What happens if you can actually plug in, like on Second Life? If you could just plug into a machine, and instead of be sitting at a keyboard, you're wearing a black mask, and you're actually going out, and it's a real virtual reality. You're in a suspended state of animation, and able to actually, what many people would call astral project now, but you can actually
those
have
glasses with the technology in them.
Google Glass.
Right.
Yeah, I mean the what's possible is far more advanced to that. But I mean, Google Glass is a good example of that.
Right.
Getting you acclimated to integrated technology. And you already see a big whiplash against that. You go to bars now, there are no Google Glass signs up. You're not allowed to wear these. But hey, thanks for joining us. Check out screamforpeace.net. We have lots of archives, over 100 shows. And you can contact us there, Twitter, Facebook. If you like the show, leave us a comment, share it. Hit like, share, make a comment.
Send us screams. I don't know.
And if there's a topic you'd like us, or a question you'd like to ask, or a topic you'd like us to address, we'll consider that as well. And you can fill out our comment section if you'd like to be a guest or discuss that. So thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with another song about robots.
Computer love.
Peace.
Thank you.